Hi everyone, and welcome to the My Message podcast. My name is Kyia Mochitani, and I'm your host for today's episode. Every episode, it'll be me right here. And on the My Message podcast, we're working to make our messy life our message. And sometimes it gets a little messy when we allow other people's opinions to dictate the decisions we make, dictate our mood, dictate how we feel. When other people's opinions have a chokehold on our life, that's when this is like a really big problem. I just wanted to do a podcast episode about how to deal with other people's opinions, how to really not care and dismiss them at the end of the day, but also value maybe a few because it is important, but also not the people that really we shouldn't value at the end of the day. And so we're going to go over 3 questions throughout this podcast episode. And it is, number 1 is why we feel the need to want people to approve of us, why we feel the need of like wanting people to say good things about us or think good things about us. Number 2 is why should we dismiss other people's opinions? And number 3 is how we dismiss what others say about us and truly live to our truest self. And so let's just get into the episode because this is so good. And I think a lot of people really struggle with this. And even if it's you grab one little take from this episode, that is so crucial. And this can help you so much live a free life, because I've been there where it's like what other people say about me, what other people think about me literally place a chokehold on me, right? Like literally like dictated my mood. I lived for the approval of other people at one point in my life. I lived for people to say kind things about me. I lived to make people love me, right? Instead of just being my true self. And then maybe not everyone loves me at that point, but also having those true people that do love me, that I do value their opinion from, right? And so why do we feel the need to want people to approve of us? Well, it's a no-brainer, right? Like we all want to feel loved and seen and have this sense of belonging. We want to feel accepted. We want to feel like we're doing the right thing or we're on the right path, or that if person A says something, like a stranger says something awesome to us, then like, oh my goodness, that is the best thing ever. When, yeah, awesome. It feels great. It really does. But we shouldn't need that, right? We all want to feel approved. We all want to feel loved. We all want to feel seen. But at the end of the day, we don't need that. We don't need that from anybody. And that brings me to question number 2 of, why should we dismiss other people's opinion? And I heard this quote the other day, and it's a little harsh, but it was so good. It's, most people hate themselves, so why would we even care what they say about us? Most people hate who they are, hate themselves. So why are we letting those people who literally hate themselves hurt us, right? Like, we're awesome. We love who we are. I hope we are working every day to become our best self. So why would we let someone who literally hates themselves dictate our mood or have control over us or take our power? I literally think about this all the time when someone acts out or someone isn't kind or someone hurts my feelings in a way or does something really mean. And it's other people's opinions or actions, we'll just say other people's opinions about you have literally nothing to do with you and everything to do with them. And an example I'll bring up is like, say you're driving, right? And you needed to get over last minute and this person was so mad that you got over and they pull up next to you at a light, right? And they're flipping you off and they're yelling at you in their car. It's like, at the end of the day, their reaction, their actions had nothing to do with you and everything to do with them. They probably acted out from a place of hurt from what happened in their day prior, what happened in their life, or what they're walking through right now in this moment. Or when I say other people's opinions, what their thoughts about you have nothing to do with you and everything to do with them. Why? Because those are the people who give their opinions about you or have an opinion, right? We all think about other people or something. We base it on our own perspective and our own experiences. We don't base it on who that person is. We base it on our own experiences. And an example would be like, I'm walking at school and I see somebody wearing something completely different and I form an opinion about them in my head. To be honest, my opinion about them was based upon the way I was raised or the clothes that I wore growing up or the clothes that I wear now. It had nothing to do with them. It had everything to do with me because whatever they were wearing maybe wasn't normal or wasn't what I would have worn, right? But like, we shouldn't even have to give that opinion. We shouldn't even care about what other people wear or what other people do with their life. But at the end of the day, like, our brains are so quick to judge and just form that opinion, right? So I just want you to know other people's opinions, what other people do. It literally has nothing to do with you and every little bit to do with them. And if that's not one of the most freeing feelings, I don't know what is. Another thing about it is like why we should dismiss other people's opinions is the fact that like there are people in this life who are completely different and on a completely different path than us. An example I'd say is a drug dealer, for instance. Jake mom told me this and it was like, this is so good. I have to share. So say a drug dealer is on this path and I'm on this path. They're two completely different paths. Therefore, by definition of who we are and what we stand for, we should not morally be aligned or we shouldn't be connected, right? Like the path that I'm taking is completely different than a drug dealer. So if a drug dealer or the people in that kind of industry or whatever don't like me, don't get me, that is amazing because we shouldn't get each other. We shouldn't get like morally be aligned, right? And so it just means that you're on the right path or that you're doing the right thing when people who are morally different than you or have different standards, they shouldn't be in that life path as you. They shouldn't be getting you in a way. They shouldn't be your number one fan because you guys are just so completely different. And like I'm not like I said, but I'm just going to say there is nothing wrong with being a drug dealer, I guess, if that's what you want to do. I don't shun you. I don't hate you for it. But that's just not the path I'm taking. And so you probably don't get the path that I'm taking. You're probably like, what the heck is wrong with you? And I'm probably like, what kind of path are you? You know what I mean? So by definition, we should not be morally aligned. We should totally be different and not, go hand in hand. I have, starting this podcast back in August, I really had to dismiss what other people thought about me or what other people thought I should be doing. I had like some really, really good friends at Ole Miss when I was there my freshman year who really looked out for me and they had my best interest definitely. And I remember one of them sitting me down and saying, Kyia, I understand that this is what you want to do, but you have your whole life to work. You have your whole life to, start a career or anything. Why wouldn't you just stay in college? Like, this is your one time where you have no responsibility and you are just free. And I had to dismiss what that person said to me because that wasn't who I was. That wasn't what I wanted to do to my core, right? And so I had to dismiss their opinion. Although they were a good friend, I had to just say thank you, but no thank you, right? Like, appreciate you for looking out for me, wanting what's best for me, but I know myself better than anyone knows myself, so actually I'm going to do what's best for me. Or when I started this podcast, I will proudly say I think I've lost hundreds and hundreds, maybe even 1,000 followers on Instagram. And at first, that placed a chokehold on me. I was like, I'm doing something wrong. There's not something I'm not doing. I want everyone to like me. Like, what is going on? Like, this is not right. But I had to dismiss those people's opinions about me. I had to dismiss their actions and the numbers because, number one, they don't get me, and that's okay. I'm not for everybody. This whole podcasting probably isn't for everyone either, right? And I had to dismiss what they were doing. I had to dismiss those thoughts in my head, and I had to dismiss what I thought those people were thinking, because I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing right now in this moment. I wouldn't be here right now if I really cared and valued those opinions. At the end of the day, I'm not going to value someone's opinion who doesn't get me. I'm not going to value someone's opinion who I don't feel like we're morally aligned. I'm not going to value someone's opinion who doesn't have the life that I want to live or isn't the kind of person that I want to be. I said this in a previous episode. It was basically what I said was like, I love my parents, but I'm not going to be taking their financial or future career kind of advice because they don't have the career I want. They don't have the life that I want to live. Point blank, period. And so that's the same exact thing when it comes to other people's opinions. Why would you listen to someone's opinion about you when you really don't even want to be that person that they are, when you really don't morally align with them, when you really don't see all that in a bag of chips in them? Why are we so quick to give our power away? Why are we so quick to just say, you know what, I have more confidence in your opinion about me than I have about me, is basically what you're saying. Granted, like I said, we want to feel loved, we want to feel liked, but you do not need that. I just want to remind you, you do not need to have other people's kind words of affirmation. You don't need to have other people's approval, but yet we want it. It's great when we have it, but you don't need it, because once you're so in tune with yourself and you are actually taking the path and being the person that you truly want to be and that you feel that you are, it really doesn't matter. It really, really, really doesn't matter. You are the only person who has walked your life and has experienced and perceived every single thing the way that you have, right? And so for someone to come in here and just judge me online when they've seen my maybe social media account, you don't even know me at that point. Like you're seeing what you get. I don't know, whatever I post. Why would I let that affect me? Why would I say, you know what, despite all that I've walked through, all the sacrifices I've had to make to be right where I am right now, sure, I'll let you have my power, and I'm actually going to empower you by giving you my hurt and my pain and the key to hurting my heart. No, we're not going to do that. Like, why are we so quick to just give our power away to someone whose opinion about you really just shouldn't matter? Because number one, they're not important to you. Number two, they don't really, really know the true you. And number three, they don't have the life that you want to live. They aren't the person that you want to be, essentially. So that's why. It's a lot of reasons. I came up with a bunch of why we should dismiss what other people think about us, or why we should dismiss other people's opinion. If I listened to what other people told me to do, I wouldn't be here right now. I wouldn't be doing this message. I wouldn't be half the human I am today, I think. Is like, I would still be in school. I would be at Ole Miss. I would be in a sorority still. I would be drinking. Because those are all the things that people have told me to do, or the things that people think is correct for me. But instead, I feel so good, and I've never looked back, and I just feel so happy and so full, knowing that number one, I'm not going to give my power to anybody. Number two, I've come this far, and I'm so freaking proud of how far I've come. Yeah, number three, the last question is, how do we dismiss what other people say about us and truly live our life? So maybe you're like, okay, Kyia, I understand what you're saying in the sense of like, okay, these are all the reasons why like we shouldn't listen to what other people think about us, but how do we actually do that? How do we actually get to that point, right? Number one, it's truly listening to what's on your heart. And I talked about, on my Instagram of like, I felt this need and this calling to help the homeless people in such a small way, but I have this calling on my heart. Maybe you're wondering, okay, but how do I know what that calling is? It was basically like when I saw a homeless person, when people would talk about them, when I, just seen one in passing or whatever, I had such a soft spot, and I knew in my heart, like this knowing that like I needed to do something, or that like I needed to help in whatever way I was able to help. And so what is on your heart that you think that you need to be doing right now? Maybe that's changing your major. Maybe that's not being around a certain friend or family member. Maybe that's starting a podcast or a YouTube channel or a fitness Instagram or just something different, right? Whatever that is, what if you just said, okay, yes to it? That right there would be access and the key to becoming your most truest, authentic self. Because why? You're listening to what's on your heart. You're listening to what you feel like you need to do despite what anybody thinks. And so number one is just listening to what's called on your heart. Listen and do and follow and take action and say yes to what's called on your heart. Number two is know and have this knowing. Like truly, I just want you to sit with this thought and just say, other people's opinion about you has nothing to do with you and everything to do with them. What if you just sat with yourself and just said, okay, wait, I'm just going to sit with this thought for a moment and truly believe this for me? Because bring yourself back to a moment where someone acted out or someone said something about you. What was going on in their life when they did that? What was happening to them for them to feel the need to say that about you and then affect you? And number three is literally just repeat those two things. How easy is that? Listen to what's on your heart. That'll give you access to be your true, authentic self. And number two is just understand other people's opinion about you has nothing to do with you and everything to do with them. Isn't that the most simple, freeing thing in the whole wide world? Isn't that so good? I do not care what anyone thinks about me. Anyone, and I can say it loud and proud. Granted, there's people who I value their opinion, and if they were to say something to me and say I thought it was right and that's true, then I'd be like, oh, thank you for bringing that to my attention. I'm going to do some deep inner working. Yeah, that's kind of right. Or yeah, I do need to fix this or whatever. Or maybe it's okay, but the advice that they're giving me or the things that they're saying to me, I'm like, honestly, no, I don't agree. Or honestly, no, I don't think that's right about me. Then you say thank you, but no thank you. Because at the end of the day, you know you better than anyone knows you. And that's all I have for today's episode. I'm sorry if that was all over the place, but there's just so many things that I want to say about it and so many ways I could have gone about it, but I tried to do it in the best way possible. I just want to make sure I said everything, so I know it's a little bit all over the place, but I just want to say thank you guys for listening. I love you guys. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for just supporting me and being here through my beginning stages. I'll get there. I know I will. I just have big dreams. So I just love you guys so much. I hope you have an amazing day, an amazing week, and a blessed day, and the best day ever. I just love you. Mwah. Bye.